Because in your imagination, you create whatever you want to create. You see how they slaughtered your imagination? If we live in a mental space, a mental world where you think everything to existence, because you created, imagination is a powerful tool now, isn't it? We live in a realm where you create anything you speak, anything you think. You are a magnet. You attract everything to you with your thoughts and your words because your soul is a magnet. The residue that the soul releases from this magnet is called magnesium, which is a high form of advanced metal particles flowing through your bloodstream. They won't tell you that. So if we live in a reality where you create everything around you, now do you see how powerful your imagination is? The McDonald's chant seems a lot more truthful now, don't it? Do you believe in magic? And I hope you do. And I hope you do. That's what they used to sing as a kid in the McDonald's commercials. Your imagination is everything. This is why you forgot about the Elves and the Gremlins. They are elemental beings. You forgot about the Elves, the Gremlins, the Trolls, the Gnomes, the Fairies. That was all a part of your imagination. As a child, you knew those beings to exist. So they had to show them to you. But once they were able to cross you over, after so much time was spending years in their matrix, they killed your imagination. Ask a kid when they 6 what they want to be when they grow up. See how they say it, but watch how they light up when they say it, because they are already imagining what it is that they want to become. They already see it. So they light up. I want to be this. Now go ask somebody 24 what they want to do with their life. And watch how they look at the different energetic response you get. Don't listen to what they're saying. Look how the energy be different. We all go through this stage where we lose our, what they call our innocence, right? That's when they slaughtered your imagination. It was in the lost your innocence phase where your imagination became slaughtered. You were exposed to the matrix. But the imagination is where many of our ancient memories lie. This is why they was able to show us dragons as little kids. And we loved watching dragons. We used to watch the Magic School Bus. Something was so special about them shows as a kid to you, to your soul. Leprechauns. Remember the movie Leprechaun? Remember the leprechaun from the goddamn Lucky Charm box? All of those were elemental beings that actually exist. Now, you have elves, all right? You have a lot of different races of elves. And this is what they were showing you on, what's that show? Not Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. Also on Star Trek. You have a lot of different elf species, all right? But the elves we talk about today, that I'm talking about now, you have the light elves. You have the light elves and the dark elves. The dark elves are the ones that are on Nern. These are the ones that created winter technology, sub-zero technology. For those of you who have been in the university since for 2 years now, you know I've spoken about this entire time. So you have the dark elves. They live on a planet called Nern. Okay, they bad. They created the winter technology. All right. They pale white, look just like regular elves with the pointy ears and everything, with the humanoid face. All right. But they tall. And they wear all black latex suits. The dark elves. Now the light elves, these are the elves you think of when you think of Lord of the Rings. All right, where they look just like us. They get married. They got families, responsibilities. These are the light. These are your light elves. Now the light elves are actually advanced beings, advanced in the mystical arts. All right, and you actually have realms. I spoke about the different realms on this planet, where the light elves have their own realm. All right, and although they are called light elves, it's really the complete opposite. The light elves look just like us, but you got different ones. So you got some of the elves, all right, which is where the story of the Smurfs come from. All right, some of the elves have all blue skin. All right, this is where the Smurfs come from. Some of them have this type of skin because they too have been exposed to the oxygen because they live on a different realm within the planet. All right, and when they come in all different colors, just like black people do today, we got light skin, dark skin, right? The elves. These are the light elves. All right, the Smurf, with the character that the Smurfs are about, would actually be a part of the light elves. All right, no different than today. We all black, but then you got certain sections that's this. So imagine the elf kingdom is ran the same way. All right. Far as when they're showing you the elves having the pointy ears, that is a feature of elves. All right, that's a feature, as well as having the thick eyebrows that connect, the unibrows. That's another one of their features. All right, but some of them have regular nails like we have, and some of them have the longer nails like you'll see like a witch have in cartoons. All right, this is the kingdom of the light elves. But they are called elemental beings because most of them can be found in nature. You can actually access the elf kingdom through many different parts of nature. All right? So sometimes they have stone entrances, like you can lift up whole stones. They go into portals under the stone to lead to their kingdom. You got different walk-ins out in mountain ranges. This is in certain places that they call mountain ranges in nature. This is why they don't let you go everywhere in nature. They have many different entrances to their kingdom scattered all throughout what we call the woods today. But these light elves, they work with the grass, they work with the soil, because there's all different type of microorganisms that make up the grass and make up the soil, and those are actual beings. Everything is alive. So the light elves are in charge of connecting with nature. All right, connected with nature, tilling to the lands up here. They help till the lands of the earth. Them and the gnomes, because the gnomes is basically damn near like light elves too. The only difference is they live right here with us. The gnomes don't live in a different realm, but the light elves, because they work with nature all around the planet, they still come up back and forth to till to the lands of the soil. All right, they try to keep the balance of nature. They work hand in hand with nature. The light elves and the gnomes, but the gnomes actually, you can find gnome kingdoms in any forest, and they are not white. They black as well. I always want to show you the elves being little white people or the gnomes being little white people. They are not. These are organic, natural beings to the planet. They black like us, but the gnomes are very little too. They are elemental beings. The gnomes are very small. You feel me? Very small. They don't hit 3 feet. For them gnomes be between 6 inches and 36 inches. So sometimes they can hit 3 feet, but that's a big gnome when you have some like that though. But majority of the gnomes are very small. All right, they're like little action figures if you've seen them. So if you remember the movies like The Indian in the Cupboard back in the day. All right, movies like that is showing you, depicting the size of the gnomes and how small they are. All right, how gnomes be all in your house. They come up in our houses and everything. They can teleport. They have all the abilities, and they move around in your house. All right, but they move so fast. A lot of times people see them. You think them times when you thought you seen something out the corner of your eye and you look and ain't nothing right there. Them be gnomes. When you see stuff, I could swear I seen something move on the floor. They move so quick. But these are the elemental beings. Gnomes are on our side. They good. They high vibration. All the elemental, they are literally called the elemental beings. Gnomes, trolls, fairies, elves, all of them. All right, so they all work hand in hand. Now, the elves, on average, range from about 4 feet to 6 feet. All right, that's on average range for the light elves. So imagine black people. These are basically black. They black like us. All right, but the same way we got different shades and variations, so do they. These are the elves. Now, amongst the elves, you have a kingdom called the Gremlins. Now, they showed you the Gremlins in a movie called The Gremlins. All right? The Gremlins they showed in the movie Gremlins, the Gremlins look like that, but not as bad. And they not like in monster format, so they like stupid. They intelligent. All right? They intelligent. But they do look rough though. All right? Now, how do they become gremlins? The gremlins started off as light elves. All right? But remember, as above, so below. So within the elf kingdom, you had all these elves. When Zeus, like I said, when Zeus fell in frequency, he took everybody with him. That even down to the elemental being kingdom, it was those who left with him. Okay? It was those that left with him. So amongst the light elves, when this split came, you had those elves that was vibrating low, began to use all their mystical arts to do bad things on the planet. All right? Trying to help Satan, trying to help Zeus. Those light elves fell in frequency. All right? And because they fell in frequency, all right, they were cast out of the elf kingdom. No different than when we cast out, like I said, when they tell you a war broke out in heaven, a war broke out in heaven. This was heaven, though, right here on the planet. Wasn't no heaven. That was a war that affected us on every level. So all those light elves that were cast out, the reason they started getting that harsh look to them, like, matter of fact, they look like the leprechaun they showed you in the movie Leprechaun. That's how the fucking gremlins look. Because the real leprechauns don't look like that. So when they showed you Leprechaun, they basically showed you a fucking gremlin. That's how they look. They look harsh. They look rough. All right? They very low vibrational. They very mean. Right? They are basically able to be used as for the job of Zeus, Satan. So the gremlins, they actually exist. And they do a lot of negative things. A lot of negative things in nature to keep the balance offset. That's what the gremlins do. They don't bother us, but they bother nature. They try to bother the lions, the tigers, the bears, the wolves, the plants. That's what gremlins do. They destroy crops, vegetation, all the little stuff that you think don't matter, but it do matter. That's what gremlins do. They affect nature. So you got elves and you got gremlins. Gremlins used to be like elves, but they fell in frequency. Lost their magic, lost their majestic, beautiful aura they had. They don't have that glow no more. Like the light elves still have that glow. The gremlins don't. No different than when they try to talk about how when Satan and the angels left heaven, they lost their wings. These number stories are it's just symbology. It's just symbology, all right, for how the war affected us on many levels. So now that you know what the light elves are, you know what gremlins are, now we can talk about a species of being called the Yoda. So from the light elf kingdom, it was supposed to be no communication between either kingdom, the Gremlins or the Light Elves. All right. But just like in the Pocahontas story, wasn't nobody from the Powhatan tribe supposed to make contact with the English settlement, but Pocahontas over there fucking John Smith all in the bushes. All right. That's how the story went. That story is just symbolic of no different than when we left the Watchers in charge to watch over the Moors and make sure that they reverse engineer these human beings the right way. What niggas do? Niggas, instead of watching them, niggas fucking them. Having sex with them. Making babies with them. Now they telling them secrets, spells, enchantments, all type of powerful shit. Then look what happened. So you had the same thing that kind of took place between the Light Elves and the Gremlins. All right? You had, it's not really a word for her name in the English dictionary, but let's put it like this. You had, okay, so the Gremlin kingdom is ran just like we run our kingdom. Elves the same way. So the only difference is they do move with a sense of hierarchy. So within the Light Elves kingdom, they got their king, they got their emperor, their empress, the royal court, all that. All right? Gremlins pattern the elves do the same thing. They got their king, royal court, all that. So basically, the daughter of the king of the Gremlins was having an affair with one of the Light Elves. The Light Elf she was having an affair with, he wasn't like a child of none of the royals that was a part of the Light Elf kingdom. Just a regular Light Elf. Whereas she was the daughter of the king of the Gremlins. So what basically, they were having a relationship. All right? They was doing what motherfuckers ain't supposed to do. All right? I told you as above, so below. Like, a lot of this information, these beings that exist, their history has been kept from us. But when you get into the stories of the history, you'll find out that it's just like our as above, so below. It's a real thing. As within, so without. So, basically, these two came together, all right, and through their union, which wasn't supposed to take place, they had a child, right? And this child led to a whole new species being evolved called the Yoda. All right? Light elf have a light elf mixed with a gremlin. They come together, they create a whole new species that's called the Yoda. That's what their baby was. So when you go watch Star Wars is when they calling him Yoda, all right? It's an actual species called the Yoda, all right? And they come from the linking between the Light Elves and the Gremlins. The Light Elves and the Gremlins. So in Star Wars, is when they showing you Yoda, although in the movie, the story that Yoda plays and he depicts, you know, the robe and his wisdom, him being a Jedi Knight, that represents the Moors. The story is the Moors, okay? Hear me clearly. The story is the Moors' story of how in Star Wars, Yoda he has all this intelligence. He's an advanced Jedi Knight trying to teach a human being, Luke Skywalker, how to become a Jedi Knight, how to learn all this magic. All right? So that whole story is about how the Moors were left in charge of the human beings. But the way Yoda looks, that's how the Yoda look. All right? And the Yoda, remember, because the Light Elves deal with, all the elemental beings deal with magic as well. It's a thing that we do in the realm. The only people not dealing with magic anymore right now mostly has been us because it was taken from us. Everybody else deals with this. And the magic that leprechauns have and Light Elves, that's nothing compared to the magic you have because we created all these beings. Remember that. But the way Yoda looked, that's how the Yoda actually looked. All right? And the Yoda being not aligned to either kingdom, all right? These mystical beings still live amongst us as well. But they keep themselves out of any affairs dealing with the planet. Just like they showed Yoda in Star Wars, they really liked it. They real humble, very wise, very in tune with the mystic arts. They got that from the elf side, the high vibrational side. The gremlin side of them only leads to their look. So if you go look at Yoda, he got the funny look. He still got the pointy ears, like elves, but he look kind of funny, right? Like disfigured a little bit. They get that from their gremlin side, but they have none of the gremlin side ways. The Yoda don't have none of the ways, none of the low vibrational ways of moving on a negative frequency. They all high frequency. They all high frequency. They get that strictly from the elf side of them, but they actually exist. So that's why on this thumbnail, I said elves and gremlins, and then I had a picture of Yoda. Because Yoda would be an example of the elf gremlin mix that came together that formed the species called the Yoda. And that's why even if you look at Star Wars, Yoda whole species, they all got different names. All of them do. Grugo, it's a lot of their ass. That's Yoda's species. But if you go look up Star Wars, they'll try to tell you they don't know where Yoda's species came from. The Yoda actually exists. And like the shamans in Africa, they be walking on the fire. That's who they deal with. They deal with different They deal with a species called the Yoda. A lot of them deal with the Yoda and get their guidance from them. You feel me? They don't be telling the public that, but a lot of them do though. They deal with these elemental beings, they are called. The Yoda, elves, light elves to be specific, fairies, trolls, gnomes, all elemental beings. Leprechauns, dwarfs, all that's real. Dwarfs are also part of the elemental beings. The people that they show you think dwarf people, they're not the real dwarfs. These are all elemental beings that exist. So it's imperative that you understand who these beings are, get familiar with these beings, and know that they do exist. The shamans, you can go pull up videos right now. Certain spiritual ceremonies they do in Africa, you'll see things that they call supernatural. But guess what? People don't understand it, so they'll just think it's fake. It's a video floating right now over there where they was levitating, and people he was upside down. He's holding on to a wire. Mm-hmm. See, they didn't want to believe it. All the comments, he's holding on to a wire. Right? Because of the lies that we've been taught over here. The Buddhist monks, the real ones, the Vietnamese, the Laos, the Philippines, those monks, they go in deep meditations. And when they doing all these, the levitation and all of that, who do you think they learn that from? The Yoda. These beings come to us. There's many people who have said they have seen little green men before. But if you scared of them, they not. They very peaceful beings. But they will appear to you and show themselves. Definitely if you're doing a meditation in nature and you're aware of their presence and you tap into it. All the elemental beings operate like that. Go back and watch all your old movies about fairies and gnomes, and it's all going to come down to, you got to believe in them, or you can't be mean to them, or you got to, there's always something like that for you to see them, right? Mm-hmm. We just bring it true. We got Orula up here with us today. He's the oracle of divination, the Orisha of divination. So basically, he works like an oracle. You got him sitting up here. That's the energy I felt to bring him on. But these things need to be exposed. These things need to be talked about. This is